Welcome back everybody to part 2 of the welding table build. In this one I'll be doing the height adjustment for the saw, painting the table, and mounting my toolbox. So now I'm ready to move over my table saw, and for that I have to take off the side cast iron panel, but I've made myself a custom fence which I have to take off completely to remove this. This fence works very well, but as you can see it's really tedious to take off. I got a nice tan line yesterday. Remember to keep your sleeves rolled down. Here I'm drilling one of the holes for the height adjustment mechanism. I'll have a threaded rod going through and a few nuts and washers that will have the table saw sitting on them, as you can see here, and it'll raise the table saw up and down as I turn the top nut. I've got the saw on top of the 4 bolts, and now it's just a matter of turning these nuts to adjust the height and moving it around a little bit to get it perfectly aligned with the rest of the table. And here it is being lowered. And after a lot of messing around, I got the table saw about ½ inch away from the frame. When I got my table saw, it came with a 1 horsepower ball door motor, and I really wanted to paint it and clean it up, so that's what I'll be doing here. If you don't want to see anything about the motor and you want to stay focused on the table, skip to about 3 minutes into the video. Now, just so you know, I've never taken apart any of these kind of motors, so I was kind of learning as I go, but it was pretty simple. I painted the parts safety blue and matte black, and I made sure everything was taped off, nothing was getting inside the motor that wasn't supposed to. And there we go, it's almost all back together. Looks much better than the faded blue, crusty it was before. I'm cutting some 3/4 inch angle that'll be a support behind the saw for a wood piece that'll go in later. And here I'm welding in 1 inch angle rails for my toolbox to sit on top of. I welded some nuts to the inside of the frame that the electrical box will bolt into for the paddle switch. Don't you hate it when you run out of paint on a Sunday and the only store that has it is already closed? Anyway, here's the next day. Here's some fancy shots of the table after the paint job and ripping off the masking paper. And reattaching the fence again. You already saw how I took it off, so I made it short this time. Here we go. So the way I'm lining up the 2 pulleys is by clamping a meter stick to the original pulley, making sure it's square to the meter stick, and just lining it up with this one here. All the way around, it should be even, and now I'm just going to carefully tighten the bolts holding the motor down. I'm so very sorry, but I did the wiring work off camera, so you can watch me put in the cable hooks for the power cable. I know this isn't how you tap properly, but it works, so I'll let it fly this time. To hang the cord, I used 1/4 inch nut, a few washers, and the 1/4 inch extender that I bolted to the frame, and just winded the power cable around that. And here's my toolbox on the trails now. Looks amazing, and the table is actually pretty easy to move still, even though it's so heavy. Okay, thank you for watching so far. That's the end of part 2. I finished wiring in the table saw. You can see the paddle switch around there, which works now. Next part will be putting in the tabletop, which will be wood at first. Eventually I'll get the 1/2-inch steel plate for the whole thing. The colors will be blue and black, as you can see. And eventually I'll be adding in more drawers and things over time, over different videos, just to finish it off. But for now, after I get the tabletop, it'll be completed. And the side table I'll use as a temporary welding table, and the old base will be a new project of some sort. I'll think of something for it. And with the table saw working out, I'll be able to put out videos on a more regular basis. Again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next videos.